Welcome to another English podcast provided by LingExam Language Academy. Today we're getting into the ultimate guide to English proficiency tests for university admission. PTE Academic versus PTE Core versus TOEFL iBT. And it's all brought to you by LingExam.com. You know, in our world today, being proficient in English isn't just a nice skill to have. It's really your passport.
Absolutely. A passport to top universities, great career chances. It opens doors.
Exactly. But figuring out which test to take. PTE Academic, PTE Core, TOEFL iBT, it can get, well, pretty tricky. Imagine someone, let's call her Chloe. She's got her applications ready, big dreams, but choosing the right English test is stressing her out.
And it should. A wrong move there, choosing the wrong test, could mean delays, wasted money, maybe even missing out on that dream university spot.
Right. So our goal today is to help you, just like Chloe, figure this out. We want you to feel confident making the best choice for your situation. Okay, let's unpack this.
Yeah, let's do that. Because while all three tests measure communication, they are built for really different things. Using the wrong one is like trying to use a screwdriver when you need a hammer.
That's a good way to put it. So let's start broad. These English proficiency exams, what are they fundamentally trying to measure?
At their core, they're assessing if you can effectively communicate, listen, read, speak, write in an English-speaking environment, whether that's for study or work.
Okay, all four skills. But you said they have different purposes.
Precisely. Let's break it down quickly. PTE Academic. That's mostly for getting into university. Thousands of universities worldwide accept it, plus it often works for student visas.
Got it. Academic focus.
And then there's PTE Core. This one's new, launched in 2024. It's specifically for Canadian immigration, think permanent residency, express entry, some work permits. The crucial thing, it is not accepted for university studies at all.
Okay, that's a huge distinction. Canadian immigration only for PTE Core. What about the third one?
That's TOEFL iBT. Probably the most recognized academic English test globally. Universities, especially in the US and Canada, really favor it. Many places require it.
All right, so 3 tests, different primary goals.
Exactly. And now we're going to dig into the specifics of each one, the format, the scoring, who should take which test, the details you need.
Perfect. Let's start with PTE Academic. What's the lowdown on this one?
So PTE Academic, that's Pearson Test of English Academic. It's fully computer-based, run by Pearson. What's really interesting, I think, is how the tasks mimic what you'd actually do at university.
Oh, like what?
Well, you might listen to a short lecture clip and have to summarize it, or read an academic-style passage and answer questions, write a short essay. It feels very connected to actual studies.
So it's not just about passing a test, it's sort of preparing you for academic life.
That's the idea, yeah. It aims to assess the English skills you'll genuinely need for your courses.
Makes sense. What are the key facts? Like, how long is it? Who accepts it?
Okay, key facts. It tests all 4 skills: speaking, writing, reading, listening. It's about 2 hours long now. Fully computer-based.
And the scoring.
That's a big one. It's scored entirely by AI, artificial intelligence.
Wow, really? No human markers?
Nope. Which means, proponents say, it's very objective. Your accent, for example, shouldn't unfairly impact your score, and results are super fast, usually 24 to 48 hours.
That is fast. And acceptance.
Wide acceptance. Over 3,300 universities and institutions globally, including lots of top ones. Also used for some student visas, like in Australia and New Zealand.
So why do universities like it so much? The speed. The academic focus.
Both, I think. The tasks mirror university work, which gives them confidence. The quick results help with tight admission deadlines, and the AI scoring ensure consistency. It's often a good fit for students who are comfortable with computers and need results quickly.
Okay. And the structure, what are the sections like?
Right, so speaking and writing are actually combined into one section. That takes about 54 to 67 minutes. You'll do things like read a sentence aloud, repeat what you hear, describe an image, summarize some text, and write an essay. Then reading is around 29 to 30 minutes. Multiple choice, reordering paragraphs, filling in blanks, typical reading comprehension tasks.
And listening.
Listening is about 30 to 43 minutes. Again, summarizing spoken text, multiple choice, dictation where you type what you hear, and identifying the correct summary of something you listen to.
Sounds comprehensive. Who's the ideal candidate for PTE Academic then?
Students applying to universities or college and pretty much anywhere it's accepted, especially those who like the computer format, need fast results, or maybe worried about potential bias in human scoring. Great for tight deadlines.
And typical scores universities look for?
It varies, of course, but generally for undergrad, maybe 58 to 65 or higher on their scale of 10 to 90. For postgrad, often 65 to 75 plus.
But the key advice is,
Always check the specific requirements of the universities you're applying to. Don't assume. Check their official website.
crucial advice. Okay, we've got a good picture of PTE Academic. Now, you mentioned PTE Core earlier and stressed it's different. This sounds like a major point of confusion.
It really is, and potentially a costly one if you get it wrong. So PTE Core launched in 2024, also by Pearson.
Right.
But it was developed with the Canadian government. Its specific dedicated purpose is for Canadian immigration, permanent residency, express entry, some work permits issued by IRCC.
So explicitly not for studying.
Explicitly not. It is not designed for or accepted by universities or colleges for admission purposes. Anywhere.
Wow, okay. That needs highlighting. What are the key facts for PTE Core? Are they similar to academic?
Structurally, yes. Quite similar on the surface. It also tests all 4 skills, takes about 2 hours, fully computer-based, AI scoring, results usually within 48 hours.
So the delivery and tech are similar.
Correct. But the content and, crucially, the acceptance are totally different. It's only recognized by Canadian immigration authorities, IRCC.
So let's hammer this home. Why is PTE Core absolutely not the test for someone like Chloe applying to university?
Because the content is different. It's designed to test practical, everyday, and workplace English, not the academic language needed for university studies.
Can you give an example?
Sure. The speaking section might involve scenarios about workplace communication or daily interactions. The writing might ask you to write an email or simple instructions, not an academic essay comparing viewpoints. Reading and listening also use everyday or work-related texts and audio.
So completely different focus. It just wouldn't demonstrate the skills the university needs to see.
Exactly. Submitting a PTE Core score for university admission would almost certainly lead to rejection. It's the wrong tool for the job.
So who should take PTE Core?
People applying for Canadian permanent residency through programs like Express Entry, or certain Canadian work permits where it's listed as an option. Basically, anyone who needs to prove their English skills specifically for Canadian immigration or related purposes.
And the big warning sign here is,
Never, ever choose PTE Core if your goal is university or college admission in Canada or anywhere else. It simply won't work.
crystal clear. Okay, let's move on to the third major player, TOEFL iBT. This one's been around a while, right?
Yeah.
Often called the standard.
That's right. TOEFL iBT test of English as a foreign language, internet-based test administered by ETS based in the USA. It is hugely recognized globally, and it's often the required test for universities in the US and Canada, plus many other top study destinations.
What are its key features? How does it compare?
It also tests all 4 skills: reading, listening, speaking, writing. Good news is it's also now shorter, around 2 hours long.
Oh, they shortened it too.
Yes, relatively recently. It's computer-based, taken either at a test center or, in many places, at home, the home edition. A key difference from PTE is the scoring.
How so?
TOEFL uses a mix of AI and human raters, especially for the speaking and writing sections.
Interesting. Does that affect result times?
Yes, results typically take a bit longer than PTE, usually around 4 to 8 days, sometimes faster for the online version, but generally not the 48 hours you see with PTE.
Okay. And the structure of TOEFL?
Right. Reading is about 35 minutes, usually 2 academic passages with 10 questions each. Listening is around 36 minutes, typically featuring university-style lectures and campus conversations.
So still very academic.
Very academic, yes. Speaking is shorter, about 16 minutes, with 4 tasks. Some are independent, like giving your opinion, and some are integrated, where you have to combine information from reading and listening to speak your response.
Okay, that sounds challenging.
It tests real-world academic communication skills. And writing is about 29 minutes, with 2 tasks. One is integrated, similar to the speaking, where you read, listen, then write. The other is a newer academic discussion task, more like contributing to an online class forum.
Why is TOEFL so widely accepted, especially by U.S. and Canadian universities? What's the appeal for them?
Well, its long history and standardization play a big role. It's a known quantity. Universities trust its focus on genuine academic English, the lectures, the seminar-style tasks, and some institutions like the balance of human and AI scoring, feeling it captures nuances perhaps AI alone might miss.
Gotcha. And typical score requirements for TOEFL?
Out of 120, right?
Yes, scored out of 120. For undergraduate, you often see requirements around 80 to 90. For postgraduate, it's higher, frequently 100 to 110 or even more for very competitive programs.
And the golden rule again?
Always check the specific university's official requirements. Don't guess, don't rely on old information. Check directly.
Absolutely. Okay, we've looked at all three individually. How do they stack up side by side? Let's connect the dots. Okay, let's pull it together. The big picture. Purpose. PTE Academic and TOEFL iBT are for university college admission. PTE Core is only for Canadian immigration work. That's the absolute dividing line.
Content.
PTE Academic and TOEFL IDT have academic content, lectures, essays, research-style questions. PTE Core uses practical, real-life, workplace content. No academic essays in PTE Core writing, remember.
Scoring.
PTE Academic and Core use AI, scaled 1090. TOEFL IBT uses human plus AI, scaled 0120. And PTE Core scores are also mapped specifically to the Canadian language benchmarks, the CLB levels needed for immigration.
Duration and delivery.
All around 2 hours now, all computer-based.
Yeah.
PTE Academic and TOEFL IBT offer test center or online options in many places. PTE Core, as of now, is test center only.
So boiling it down for the listener.
If university is your goal, your choice is between PTE Academic and TOEFL IBT. Forget PTE Core for academics. If Canadian immigration is your goal, PTE Core is the specific tool designed for that purpose. PTE Academic generally won't work for PR.
What about score equivalency, like with the CEFR levels? Does a high score on one roughly equal a high score on another?
Roughly, yes. They map to the common European framework of reference. For example, a C1 level, which is advanced, might be around PTE 7685 or TOEFL 95-113. A B2 level upper intermediate, often a minimum for uni, could be PTE 5975 or TOEFL 7294.
Helpful for context.
Yeah.
And just to recap acceptance quickly.
Sure. PTE Academic. Widely accepted by universities globally, some student visas like Australia, NZ, some other migration pathways. TOEFL IBT, the most widely accepted for universities globally, especially North America. PTE Core, only for Canadian immigration and specific work permits linked to IRCC. Cannot stress that enough.
So if we think about categories, academic admission,
PTE Academic or TOEFL IBT, yes.
student visa,
Usually PTE Academic or TOEFL IBT, but check the specific country uni rules.
Canadian immigration, PR,
PTE Core, yes. PTE Academic, no. TOEFL IBT, generally no.
Canadian work visa.
PTE Core is designed for this. Sometimes others might be accepted depending on the visa type, but Core is the targeted one for IRCC routes needing a test. Always check the specific visa requirements.
That clarifies things a lot. What about the actual test day? What's the feel?
PTE Academic, whether center or online, feels very tech-focused. You, the computer, the microphone, fast-paced. PTE Core feels similar in format. At a test center, just the content is different, more everyday scenarios. TOEFL, whether at home or center, might feel slightly different because, human raters are involved in some scoring. Maybe slightly less rushed in feel than PTE for some, but still timed, still demanding.
Okay. Now, the question everyone asks, which test is easier?
Yes, the million-dollar question. And the answer is, it depends.
Always the way, isn't it?
It really does depend on you. If you're great with computers, quick thinking, maybe less worried about interacting with a human examiner, PTE Academic might feel easier or more comfortable. Its AI scoring is very consistent. PTE Core might feel easier in terms of content if you find everyday English simpler than academic jargon, but remember,
It's useless for university.
exactly. So easier is irrelevant if it doesn't get you where you need to go.
And TOEFL.
TOEFL's academic focus requires strong skills like note-taking during lectures. Some people prefer having human raters involved, feeling it allows for more nuance, especially if they have a less common accent or speaking style. Others find the integrated tasks demanding.
So the real takeaway isn't about easy.
The real takeaway is the easiest test is the one that your chosen university or immigration authority actually accepts and that best suits your strengths. Choosing PTE Core because you think it's easier the PTE Academic for university is a guaranteed fail.
Don't choose based on perceived ease alone if it's the wrong test for your goal.
Got it. That's the #1 piece of advice.
Let's talk about those mistakes. What are the common pitfalls you see people falling into?
Oh, there are definitely recurring ones. Mistake #1, and probably most heartbreaking. Student takes PTE Core thinking it's just PTE and submits it for university. Instant rejection. Wasted time and money.
Oh, dear. Okay, what else?
Mistake 2. Student takes PTE Academic, which is great, but applies to a university that only accepts TOEFL IBT. This is rarer now, but still happens. Again, delays, maybe needing to take another test.
So not checking the specific accepted tests.
Exactly. And mistake 3, the reverse of mistake 1, someone applying for Canadian PR takes PTE Academic instead of the required PTE Core. Application gets rejected. They needed Core.
It all comes back to checking requirements.
Absolutely.
Good to
Key
know.
advice, double check. Triple check. Look at the official university admissions page and the visa requirements page if applicable before you book anything.
So a quick checklist for people listening, university or college admission anywhere.
PTE Academic or TOEFL iBT. Check which ones your specific unis accept.
Canadian PR or related work permit needing a test for IRCC.
PTE Core.
Student visa.
Usually PTE Academic or TOEFL iBT, but you must verify with the specific country's visa rules and the university.
And your top expert tips summarized.
1. Never take PTE Core for university. 2. Always check both university and visa requirements directly on their official websites. 3. If you have multiple university options, lean towards the test that's accepted by the most of them, usually TOEFL or PTE Academic.
Perfect. Let's quickly hit some FAQs we often hear. Can someone use PTE Core for university?
Absolutely not. Never.
Can they use PTE Academic for Canadian PR?
No, IRCC specifically requires PTE Core for those pathways now.
Which test gets results faster generally?
PTE, both academic and core, is typically faster, often within 48 hours. TOEFL is more like 48 days.
Is TOEFL iBT accepted everywhere for uni?
Not everywhere, but it has the widest acceptance globally, especially dominant in the US and Canada. Almost all major universities accept it.
And PTE Academic, is it accepted by good universities?
Yes, definitely. Over 3,300 institutions worldwide, including many highly ranked ones. Its acceptance is growing rapidly.
Great. Okay, let's wrap this up. Choosing the right English test is clearly a critical step. So, the core truths to remember. University admission needs PTE Academic or TOEFL iBT. PTE Core is not an option for study. Canadian immigration via routes like express entry needs PTE Core. PTE Academic is generally not accepted for that.
And the golden rule, say it with me.
Always verify the requirements with your specific university or visa authority before you book.
Exactly. Your dreams, your goals, they're within reach. But making an informed decision about this test is a key step to getting there faster and, frankly, smarter. Don't let the wrong test choice trip you up.
Well said. And remember, if you need more help preparing, understanding your options, or boosting specific skills, LingExam Language Academy is here for you. We've got lots of valuable content and specialized courses. For instance, check out our IELTS Academic Writing Task 2 vocabulary course, designed to lift your score from band 6 to 7. You can find that and much more at lingexam.com. Explore the resources, get the support you need, and take that next step with confidence. This podcast was provided by lingexam.com.